Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic reading, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living Communities of Columbia and Greater Baltimore. Today is November 6th. And this morning I'm reading from Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Voice of Knowledge, with Janet Mills. And I opened it up to page 155, and my eyes landed on this paragraph. The fourth agreement is always do your best. When you do your best, you don't give the voice of knowledge an opportunity to judge you. If the voice doesn't judge you, there's no need to feel guilty or to punish yourself. Doing your best, you are going to be productive, which means you are going to take action. Doing your best is about taking action and doing what you love to do because it's the action that makes you happy. You are doing it because you want to, not because you have to. I just want to acknowledge that hacking in the background is Taz. He has what's called a collapsing trachea, and sometimes it makes him cough. So that's what you heard in the background. So what comes up for me around this doing our best is that sometimes I think the idea of our best is distorted by someone else's shouldapedia, right? By someone else's criteria of what our best should look like, instead of it being what we love, what is important to us, the calling on our life. And in each moment, how we show up is how we show up. And I think sometimes we tend to default to some arbitrary standard of how we should show up. Whether we could or not is irrelevant. We make up this standard of what we call excellence. And then when we don't meet it, we berate ourselves or we berate someone else or we point fingers. The bottom line is it's a comparison that robs us of the joy that's available. And what if we simply showed up, committed to doing the very best that we can in that moment, and then recognize that that standard changes. My best at a 50-yard dash today is very different time than my best in a 50-yard dash when I was a teenager. Very different, right? Doesn't mean I wasn't doing my best both places. It means my best changed because I changed. And so maybe when we're leaning into this fourth agreement to always do our best, we could start by doing our best to be reasonable with ourselves, doing our best to stop comparing ourselves even to a previous version of ourselves or an imagined later version of ourselves. Maybe leaning into this moment with full integrity of doing our best is the best we can do for ourselves. Maybe. it's the way that I've learned to look at it. Um, that certainly doesn't mean that's the way you should look at it. That's the whole thing with this doing our best. How does it work for you to look at it? If you're if you can in integrity say, I know that wasn't my best, then explore what internalized message, what narrative, what belief system, what thoughts did you employ to let yourself do less than your best? And maybe circle dance that to see, was it really less than your best, or was it your best and your perception and your self judgment is making it something different? You're the only one who knows. And I invite you to really engage in that process, to change what makes sense to you to change, not what makes sense to somebody else for you to change, but what makes sense for you to change to you. And then try it on. And if it fits, great. And if it doesn't, maybe try something else. Maybe treat this whole how we show up in the world like trying on new shoes until we find the pair that fits. Maybe we get to do that, free of any guilt, shame, or blame, free of any attachment. We just get to show up and be who we are and evolve our understanding and experience of who we are as we awaken to who we actually are by culling away all the stuff that we're not. Perhaps it actually will work that way. So I'm going to read this paragraph one more time and invite you to join me in a 5-minute meditative practice. It's simply a practice of being present with whatever comes up. Not trying to make anything happen, and certainly not trying to stop anything from happening. Just 5 minutes of being present with whatever comes. Here's the reading again. Page 155, middle paragraph. The fourth agreement is always do your best. When you do your best, you don't give the voice of knowledge an opportunity to judge you. If the voice doesn't judge you, there's no need to feel guilty or to punish yourself. Doing your best, you are going to be productive, which means you are going to take action. Doing your best is about taking action and doing what you love to do because it's the action that makes you happy. You are doing it because you want to, not because you have to. What joy it fills my heart and my being and my awareness with, to recognize one power, one invisible substance, energy, life force, God, great mystery, whatever we call it, one that expresses itself in, through, and as all of creation, seen and unseen, known and unknown, past, present, future, all happening in this one eternal moment of now. An expression of creation that knows no limitation, knows no time and space, whose very center is everywhere present in its infiniteness, without a circumference, without a boundary, without a border. The wholeness, the completeness, the perfection that expresses in individualized blueprints of itself, fully equipping every expression of itself with all that it is and all that is necessary for the best to be the only expression. I am that in form. The I am that I am. The I am that all life is. Because what is true of me is true of all life. Every person, place, thing, every animal, vegetable, mineral, from the cosmos to the tiniest imperceptible speck of life, all connected, inseparably connected, being made of one substance. And so I celebrate this idea of best. I celebrate the awakening of humanity to its magnificence, to its best. I celebrate the remembering of creation in this human iteration, to remembering the truth of being, knowing that as I remember the truth of my being, I instantly know the truth of all being. And as I remember who I am, I remember, bring together the members of the one body in my awareness, in my activity, in my heart, in mind, in experience, refusing to participate in finger pointing and separation. I recognize that no individual is their behavior, that none of us is a behavior, that behavior is simply the activity of law reflecting back to the body of one, what is being thought into it, about it, by it. And so I claim and affirm that I am responsible. And I gratefully accept the agency of responsibility within me to respond from that perfect blueprint of doing my best to fully participate in the healing of life, the revealing of more truth, the revealing of more God, whatever we call it, God, life, peace, power, presence, whatever it is, a revealing of that unlimited everything as the nature, the ground of being, the common ground of all life. I claim it. I accept my responsibility to fully participate in the healing. And I celebrate that the activity of law, the doer, the doing aspect, it always does its best, has already acted upon the word spoken, the desire desired, the affirmation affirmed. That divine yes to what is alive, to express, has already acted upon it and made it so. And made it so perfectly. So there's no waiting period. There's no waiting for other people to get it. There is moving with my eyes, my ears, my heart, mind wide open to see the manifestation of what has been claimed and responded to, yes. To look through a different lens of expectancy rather than doubt. To release all of the chatter that even wonders if it's done, and to stand firmly in the faith that it is done. Before I see it, so that I will see it. And I allow that to penetrate this human experience, to be that point that I return to over and over again, when conditioned thinking would have me believe a lie that it's not done. I remind myself of this moment, of this sensation, of this power of completeness. I come back to this. It is done. It is done. It is done. And I look for the evidence that it is done. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.